बोर्ड जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस हे श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की जय। श्री गोपाष्टमी महामहोत्सव की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। टुगेदर नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 9, Lord Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy, Text 43 and also Text 44. But we'll recite Text 43. You can repeat behind me. Sarva Veda Mayenedam Atmana Atmatmayonina Praja Srija Yatha Purvam Yascha Mayi Anuserate. Sarva Veda Mayenedam Atmana Atmatmayonina Praja Srija Yatha Purvam Yascha Mayi Anusherate. Sarva Veda Mayenedam Atmana Atmatmayonina Praja Srija Yatha Purvam Yascha Maya Nusherate. Sarva Veda Mayenedam Atmana Atmatmayonina Pratha Srija Yatha Purvam Yascha Maya Nusherate. Sarva Veda Mayenedam Atma Atmatmayonina Praja Srija Yatha Purvam Maya Nusherate. Mataji's Sarva Veda Mayenedam Atma Atmatmayonina Praja Srija Yatha Purvam Yascha Maya Nusherate. Sarva, all, Vedamayen, under complete Vedic wisdom. Idam, this, Atmana, by the body, Atma, you, Atmayonina, directly born of the Lord, Prajaha, living entities, Srija, generate, Yatha Purvam, as it was herein before. Yaha, which, cha, also, mai, in me, anusherate, lie. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. By following my instructions, you can now generate the living entities as before, by dint of your complete Vedic wisdom and the body you have directly received from me, the supreme cause of everything. We'll also recite 44. Maitreya uvacha tasma evam jagasrishtre pradhana purusheshvaraha vejedam svena rupena kanjanabhastiro dade. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The sage Maitreya said, after instructing Brahma, the creator of the universe, to expand the primeval Lord, the personality of Godhead in his personal form as Narayan, disappeared. Purport: before his activity in creating the universe, Lord Brahma saw the Lord. This is the explanation of Chatushloki Bhagavatam. When the creation awaited Lord Brahma's activity, Brahma saw Lord, and therefore the Lord existed in his personal form before the creation. His eternal form is not created by the attempt of Brahma as imagined by less intelligent men. The personality of Godhead appeared as he is before Brahma, and it disappeared from him in the same form, which is not materially tinged. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Thapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Happen actually. So there are two things which may either distract or deviate us. One thing is the agitation of the mind. We come to the Society of Devotees, we join ISKCON, because we are in an institute and there are so many different kind of people joining. So sometimes certain kind of situation, management, mismanagement, it may agitate our mind. There are many agitations. So many people, they behave differently in this world. So there could be so many ways the mind may be agitated and we said, what's going on over here? I don't want to be here, etc. So due to certain agitations by situations, by different persons, and mainly by our own mind actually, ultimately, it's created by the mind. So that the agitation created by our own mind, whatever could be the impetus, external impetus, a person may leave Krishna consciousness or may be distracted, deviated. So that is one thing. Second thing which deviate or distract us from the path are the allurements. So first is the agitation, second is the allurements. So when we start, when we join Krishna consciousness, then we are in a very good mood, we have enthusiasm. But in due course of time, when we have grown up, we know so many things in bhakti. So many people respect us, honor us, worship us. So many facilities may come. And then we may be allured by that. So just like Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur used to say, Kari lam sannyasi, hai gelo vilasi. I made them sannyasis, but they became vilasi, means enjoyers. So in due course of time, when the facilities come, worship come, people consider ourselves to be senior devotees, etc., etc. So we may be allured by so many things and again be distracted or deviated from the right path. So in this way, the agitation of the mind and the allurements which comes in bhakti may deviate us from this path. Lord Brahma has sought the protection of the Lord, and we should always seek that protection consciously, because we are fallible. We are fallible. We may, as I said, we may be distracted or deviated at any point of time. The mind may cheat us. So in this way, if we remain in the association of devotees and always praying for the protection, then the Lord ensures, yes, you will have my protection. The Lord ensures. Ensuring him you will be able to carry out the work of a creation. So the Lord grants protection in response to the prayers of Brahmaji. So in this way, also specifically, Lord Brahma offered very beautiful prayers. And Supreme Lord says, I am very pleased with your prayers because you have correctly described and glorified my personal form. So this is also very important part of Lord Brahma's prayers, that he has properly described and glorified the personal form of the Lord. And the Lord specifically congratulated Brahma for his prayers. So Lord Brahma pleased Lord Narayan by glorifying his personal form. And we also see that how Srila Prabhupada pleased his spiritual master by describing the personal aspect of the Lord. In the verse, in the poem which he wrote, he described absolute is sentient, thou hast proved, impersonal calamity thou hast removed. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur was very pleased by this beautiful personal description. So, therefore, the greatest blasphemy of the Lord is to consider his form to be material. It described that Prakarta kari amane Vishnu kalevar Vishnu ninda ara nahi ihara upar. One who consider form of Lord Vishnu to be prakrit, material or formless. So this is one of the greatest blasphemy. So glorifying the Lord's personal form actually pleases the Lord. So in this way, the Lord congratulated Brahma for his prayer. We described his personal form. And it's described that, yes, so bhakti is a personal science dealing with the Supreme Person. The Lord is a Supreme Person. And therefore, he descended in his personal form and performed so many pastimes. And when the Lord descends in his form of Krishna, in his personal form of Krishna, that form is the supreme form amongst all the personal form also. So Chaitanya Charitamrita describes, Krishnera yate kakhela sarvotama nara lila nara vaputahara sarupa gopavesha venukara navakishora natavara nara lilara hai anurupa. So of all the pastime of Krishna, the Sarvottam is Narlila when he comes as human form, because Krishna comes in so many species. Pralaya payodhi jale dhitavanasi vedam. He comes among the aquatics as the fish incarnation, and then among the animals as Varaha, and so on and so forth. But when he comes in human form, those forms are the supreme form. But even in the human form, when he comes in Gopavesh, this verse says, today is the Gopastami. So Krishna is in Gopavesh today. This form is even superior to all the other personal forms of the Lord. Gopavesha Venukar, Navakishora Natavar. In this way, this is because Krishna performs many beautiful pastime of personal loving exchanges. That's why his form as Krishna is considered to be the sweetest of all form. So we will come to the description of Gopastami and the supreme form of Krishna as a Gopa. But before that, I will briefly describe or glorify the three Vaishnavacharyas whose disappearance day is today. Vrindavan Das Thakur says, Ei mor vachan nahe sarva shastra kahe bhakta katha shuni le Krishne te bhakti hai. He said, this is not my word. All the scripture says that when we hear bhakta katha, that helps develop devotion to Krishna. Ei mor vachan nahe sarva shastra kahe bhakta katha shuni le Krishne te bhakti hai. So therefore I thought also that I will first speak about the devotees of the Lord, because that generates devotion to Krishna. So today is the disciplinary day of Dhananjaya Pandit. Many of you may not have even heard his name. Even if you have heard his name, you may have forgotten completely. So Dhananjaya Pandit. About him it is described, Nityananda Priya Bhritya Pandit Dhananjaya Atyanta Virakta Sada Krishna Prema May. So he is Nityananda Priya Bhritya, a dearmost servant of Lord Nityananda, Dhananjaya Pandit. Atyanta Virakt, completely renounced from all material enjoyment. Sada Krishna Prema May. And he was always saturated with love for Krishna. So he is one of the 12 Gopas called Vasudham. There is Sudama is one, and there is Vasudham. Dhananjaya Pandit is Vasudham from Krishna Leela. And this verse described he was Atyanta Virakt. There is a beautiful pastime how Dhananjaya Pandit he was married when he was very young to a girl whose name was Haripriya. And it said that immediately after his marriage, he decided to go on a pilgrimage. Immediately after the marriage, Tirth Yatra. That's the Vedic way of honeymoon. So he decided to go on Tirth Yatra immediately after the marriage. And his father, he gave him a lot of money. His father was very wealthy. He gave him a lot of money. But Dhananjay Pandit gave all the money to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. He offered them all the money. And he remained simply a pauper, a kind of a beggar. So in this way, Atyanta Virakt. Another verse glorify this quality of Dhananjay Pandit by saying, Vilasi Vera Givando Pandit Dhananjay Sarvasya Prabhure Diya Bhanda Hathalay. He's a Vairagi. So Pandit Dhananjay, though he's a married, but he gave all the wealth to the Lord. And he became voluntarily begging, just like a Brahmanas beg by maintaining themselves. So therefore, he simply held a begging bowl in his hand to maintain himself and offered all his inheritance to Lord Gauranga and Lord Nityananda for their preaching mission. So that is about Pandit Dhananjay. Today is also, so we are remembering him, and we pray at his lotus feet that we may also have a fraction of renunciation and devotion that he manifested at the lotus feet of Lord Gauranga and Lord Nityananda. So today is also the Disappearance Day of Gadadhar Das. Gadadhar Das. Just like we know Gadadhar Pandit is one of the Panchatattva, there is another devotee who is Gadadhar Das. He is the devotee of Lord Chaitanya. He is counted as one of the branches of Lord Chaitanya. And also Lord Nityananda. Both. So there are common devotees. The certain devotees are counted as primarily the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Of course, all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya are automatically devotees of Lord Nityananda. There is no doubt. But still, prominently there are devotees who were more attached to Lord Chaitanya. There were others who were attached to Lord Nityananda. They are counted separately. But there are some devotees are counted who are equally, they were attached to both of them. They are counted as devotees of both. So Gadadhar Das is one of them. And it's described that just like Gadadhar Pandit is none other than Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani came as Gadadhar Pandit. So the Kanti of Srimati Radharani, the effulgence, descended as Gadadhar Das. So therefore he is described as the gopi called Chandrakanti in Krishna Leela, who is the embodiment of Srimati Radharani's Kanti, the effulgence. That gopi Chandrakanti, she came as Gadadhar Das in Gaur-Nitai's pastime. Not just that, it's said Balram's beloved cowherd boyfriend, his name was Purnananda. He also entered into Gadadhar Das. And Kavi Kanpur says, the Balram's cowherd friend, Purnananda, entered into Gadadhar Das for some special purpose, he says. So this is quite unique to Lord Gauranga's Leela. Two, sometimes three personalities come together in one role, can you imagine? So sometimes it's difficult to understand. But His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj explained this very nicely. He says, if there is some very popular play happening and there are limited seats and there is a overbooking taking place, so in a hall where capacity of 200, sometimes 300, 400 may enter at times, and then they may squeeze on seats, on 2 suites, 3 or 4 may squeeze in. In India we have experience of this at least. People squeeze in. So therefore, Lord Gauranga's play is very special. So many personalities actually wanted to participate and squeeze in. As we know, even Jai Vijay, they were cursed to have 3 lifetimes. But they thought, oh, Lord Gauranga is coming. They extended on their own to participate. They are staying in the material world to participate. So there is an overcrowd There is a greater demand than the number of roles available to assist Lord Chaitanya. So 2, 2, 3, 3 personalities have combined into one in Lord Chaitanya's pastime to participate. That is one reason. Another reason described how 2 or 3 personalities are combined in Lord Chaitanya's pastime. Just like we know Ramanand Rai, his Arjuna and Vishaka are being combined. There are many such associates. So another reason described is that to assist the Lord in different mellows. So therefore here Gadadhar Das, he has both the mellows, you see. He as a gopi serves Lord Gauranga, assists him in his conjugal pastimes. But as a cowherd boy, he assists Nityanand Prabhu then. So there are 2 combined. So therefore to expand or to assist both Lord Gauranga and Lord Nityananda in different loving mellows, 2 or 3 personalities have combined together. And that's another reason for their combined descent. So in this way, Gadadhar Das, he is none other than Chandrakanti, the effulgence of Srimati Radharani, and also the cowherd boy, Balram's cowherd boy called Purnananda. So there is a beautiful pastime of Gadadhar Das. Of course, each of the associates of the Lord, their glories are unlimited actually. So within a short time, what justice can we do? But still, I am just scratching upon the surface, desiring to purify myself by this attempt. So there is a beautiful pastime described by Gadadhar Das, that how he would be so much absorbed in Krishna or in the ecstasy of love for Krishna, that one particular night, this is the pastime, it took place at night, one particular night, he was so absorbed in his ecstasy of Krishna that he suddenly went to the house of the Qazi, the local Qazi. Vrindavan Sagar described this pastime. Paranande mat gadadhar mahashay. So Paranand is all spiritual ecstasy. So he was so much absorbed, mad, matta. Paranande mat gadadhar mahashay. Nisha bhage gela sei kajira alay. So at night he went to the house of Kaji. Ye kajira bhai lok palay antare. Nirbhay chalila nisha bhage tar ghare. So just by, when people would hear that Kazi is coming, people would just run away. They would enter their house. But here he is leaving his house in the night to go to Kazi. So that requires a lot of courage and boldness. While Gadadhar is going, he was continuously chanting the name of the Lord. And when he reached his house, he actually shouted on reaching his house, Gadadhar bale are kaji beta kotha, jhata Krishna bala nahe chindutar matha. He says, some of the Qadis, men were sitting, and he said, where is that Qazi? Bring the Qazi now in front of me, otherwise I will sever off the Qazi's head. He kind of spoke loudly like that. And the Qazi's servants, those who heard, they were so stunned that anyone could dare to do this. They were speechless. They didn't know how to even respond or react to this. But when the Qazi heard these loud shrieks or these loud challenges of Gadadhar, the Qazi became angry as fire, is mentioned. And he stormed out of his room to see that who is challenging him. And when he saw Gadadhar, just by seeing Gadadhar, he was pacified. He was pacified. So that is the effect of, actually, because Gadadhar, that was the effect of his presence. His absorption in Krishna, his simplicity and purity pacified the Qazi. He didn't say anything, just by seeing him. Therefore, Srinivasacharya, whose disappearance day is today, he has written Dhira Dhira Janapriyo Priya Karo. And even about Raghunath Das Goswami, it is mentioned, there was another Turk, actually Adhikari in the government of Malaysias. He had once imprisoned Raghunath. He came to imprison his uncle and father, but his uncle and father fled. He actually captured Raghunath. And he wanted to beat him sometimes. But as soon as he would see Raghunath Das Goswami's face, man phiri gela, he could not beat him. He just could not beat him because just his presence, his simplicity, his purity was so overwhelming that all that hatred and envy would be calmed down, would be pacified just by the presence. So this is the power of the presence of the Lord's pure devotees. So herein the Qazi, though he came out of his house, he was stormed out in great anger, but seeing Gadadhar, he was pacified. And then he spoke. He said, Gadadhar, why have you come here at night? And Gadadhar Das said, I have a very important and urgent message for you. And this message is important and urgent for all of us. So what does Gadadhar Das says? Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Prabhu Avatari Jagatera Mukhe Balaila Hari Hari. Gadadhar Das says, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda have descended and the whole world is induced to chant the name of the Lord. Sabe tumhi matra nahi bal hari naam. Only you have remained. The whole world is chanting, but you have not chanted the name of the Lord. Only you have remained untouched. Therefore, I have come here to ask you today to chant the name of Krishna. He kind of dictates or orders him. I have come. Paramangal Harina, Paramamangal Hari Nam Bala Tumi, Tomara Sakala Papa Udhari Ba Ami. So he says, you chant the name of the Lord, and therefore you will be delivered from all the sinful reactions. Though, Vrindavan Das Thakur says, though the Qazi was filled with so much hatred and cruelty, he could not speak, or he was also kind of stunned. He was stunned. And then he began smiling. The Qazi began smiling. What does he say? Hasi bale Qazi sun dasa gadadhar, kali bali bana hari aji yaha ghar. So he began smiling. He said, Gadadhar, listen to me. Tomorrow I'll chant the name of Hari. Today you return back home. It's already night. Tomorrow I'll fulfill your request, and tomorrow I will chant the name of Hari. And hearing this, Gadadhar Pandit began dancing there. He said, why tomorrow? You have just now chanted the name of Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Gadadhar began dancing in the courtyard of Qazi, glorifying the Lord's name, and that now you have chanted, now all the reactions have been cleared. In this way, all the inauspiciousness has been dispelled, and so on, so forth. And Vrindavan Das Thakur says, after this pastime, he kind of analyzes it a bit, gives us some important lessons. He says, consider that saintly people did not even want to be touched by the air that would come from the side of Qazi. That's how cruel and sinful was Qazi. That the saintly person would even avoid the breeze, the air that is coming from the Qazi. For they felt that contact would make them lose their caste. They'll be contaminated, they will lose their caste. Yet Gadadhar Das Mahashay glanced mercifully on that most sinful Qazi, who would take away the caste of any Hindu he encountered. That's another thing mentioned about this Qazi, that how he would take away the caste of any Hindu who would come in his vicinity. And such a person gave up his envious nature and became free from all sinful reactions by the mercy of Gadadhar, who was absorbed in his love for Krishna. So Vrindavan Das Thakur says, such is the power of absorption in Krishna, that even cruel people, envious people, they give up their cruelty and enviousness and become gentle and become free from the sinful reaction, and they also chant the name of the Lord. So in this way, Gadadhar Das Goswami, who was completely absorbed in Krishna, in Lord Gauranga and Lord Nityananda, delivered this Kadi by his absorption in Krishna consciousness. Another great personality whose disappearance is today is Srinivasacharya. So it described that when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas in Katwa, there was a one person called Gangadhar. He became so overwhelmed with grief on Lord Chaitanya's taking sannyas. Of course, this is a transcendental grief. He became so overwhelmed that he was crying out continuously, Ha Chaitanya, like that. He was crying out. And because for a long time he was crying out like that, chanting the name of Chaitanya, everyone renamed him as Chaitanya Das. He became known as Chaitanya Das. And it's mentioned that Chaitanya Das, he actually was very renounced. Though he was married, he had no child. And he didn't desire also a child. But one day suddenly he felt very strong desire to have a child. And he consulted with his wife. And the wife also, she said, yes, I am also having that desire. But she said, we should go and take permission of Lord Chaitanya. We should go to Puri and reconfirm our desire. That's also a nice lesson we get over here. Sometimes we feel some inspiration in spiritual life. It's always good to reconfirm that inspiration from someone who is superior. So they decided that yes, so we are desiring for a child, but we will go to Puri, Jagannath Puri, and ask Lord Chaitanya if we can have a child, beg his permission and blessings. So both Gangadhar and his wife, they both traveled towards Puri, and when they arrived in Puri, they offered obeisance to Lord Chaitanya. And before they could speak out, Lord Chaitanya spoke. Before even they could express, Lord Chaitanya spoke, Lord Jagannath will fulfill all your desires. And all the devotees became curious. He had not even expressed anything. Lord Chaitanya simply said, the Lord Jagannath will fulfill all your desires. So the devotees became curious and they started asking each other, what is the desire? What is the desire? Whispers started spreading. And Lord Chaitanya, he understood that people will now start speculating what is his desire. And Lord Chaitanya himself announced. He said, Chaitanya Das desires to have a son. So he said, he desires to have a son. So indeed his wife will give birth a jewel-like son who will be named as Srinivas. He'll be the manifest form of my love and will be non-different from me. He will increase everyone's enthusiasm for devotion. Through Rupa and Sanatan, I will bring about scriptures into the world, and through Srinivas, I shall distribute them. This is all written in Bhakti Ratnakar. So how Lord Chaitanya predicted, or not just he granted, but he even he described beforehand the activities of Srinivas. He predicted. So in this way, Srinivasacharya's disappearance is today, who is the manifest form of Lord Chaitanya's love, and who is the one who became instrumental in distributing the books written by the Goswamis. So we know how, along with Shyamananda and Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya started the first traveling book distribution party on bullock carts. So he actually transformed the leaders of the dacoits. There was a dacoit king, King Viramvir, into a Vaishnava by his spiritual power. And therefore the whole state of Orissa was patronized to become Vaishnava. When a great personality takes to some religion, we see especially a king, like Ashoka patronized Buddhism and so on and so forth. Similarly, the whole state of Orissa was induced to take up to the Vaishnavism by the influence of King Viramvir, who became a disciple of Srinivasacharya. And just like Rupa and Sanatan created Gupta Vrindavan in Ramkeli, Maharaja Jai Singh created a Gupta Vrindavan in Jaipur, Srinivasacharya also created a Gupta Vrindavan in Van Vishnupuram. And that was the most elaborate Gupta Vrindavan, which he created in Van Vishnupuram. And he is the one who wrote the famous Shad Goswami Ashtakam, glorifying the 6 Goswamis. And Narottam Das Thakur, after his disappearance, Narottam Das Thakur, he wrote the famous song, Feelings of Separation from the Departed Vaishnavas, Jaya Nilo Premadhan. That is written by Narottam Das Thakur in separation from Srinivasacharya. Heno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur. There, Acharya Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur actually directly means Srinivasacharya. So in this way, Srinivasacharya is another very exalted personality whose disappearance day is today. So we also seek his blessings, his mercy, to be able to follow in the footsteps, in his footsteps, and become instrument in the hands of our spiritual master to spread Krishna consciousness. And now coming back to Gopastami. So as I said in the beginning, that how today Krishna is dressed as Gopa. Of all the forms of the Lord, the form of Krishna is described as the superior most form in terms of loving exchanges, in terms of personal reciprocation. And especially his form of the cowherd boy is described as the supreme form. So it's described by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami that in his Balya Leela up to the age of 5, Krishna primarily was absorbed in Vatsalya Rasa. He tasted the mellows of Vatsalya up to the age of 5. And after the age of 5 is the beginning of Poganda Leela, in which he primarily was absorbed in Sakhya Ras. Though Vatsalya continues, but then Sakhya Ras from the Poganda Leela. And Gopastami is actually the start of the Pogand Leela. So Krishna herding the cows, from Vatsapa till the age of 5, he was herding the calves in the vicinity. Herding the calves, one will not go deep in the forest. But from today onward, after the beginning of Pogand Leela, is actually the Gopastami day, when Krishna began herding the cows. So therefore, the Poganda Leela, the primary rasa which Krishna was absorbed in was Sakhya Rasa. So up to Kumar Leela, Vatsalya Ras, then Pogand Leela, Sakhya Ras, and then Kishore Leela is primarily characterized by Madhurya Ras. Vatsalya Aveshe Kaila Komara Safal, Poganda Safal Kaila Laya Sakhaval, Kishore Vayase Kama Jagata Sakhal, Rasa Dili Laye Tin Karila Safal. In this way, these three division of pastime, Balya, Pogand and Kishore, how Krishna made his three phases of life safal, successful, by being absorbed in these three loving mellows of Vatsalya, and then Sakhya, and then Madhurya. And not just he made his phases of life successful, actually he made the whole universe successful by performing this pastime. So, Kashoro Vayase Kama Jagata Safal. Javasakal means here, by performing his pastime, the entire universe became successful. Because the success of the universe is, or the living entities, and the universe has been created for the living entity, and the success is when we can hear, chant and glorify Krishna. Therefore, all the three worlds became successful by performance of these pastime in three phases. So, as I said, that how Gopastami marks the beginning of the Pogand pastimes of Krishna, where he began herding the cows. So, Lord Brahma describes this form, cowherd boy form, in his very first prayer. Today, what we read, this chapter is Brahma's prayers for creative energy, the third canto. In 10th canto, Lord Brahma he offers his prayer after Brahma Vimohan Leela. Those are also very special and sweet prayers. So in his very first prayer, Lord Brahma describes this cowherd boy, Krishna the cowherd boy, this Gopa form of Krishna. Naumidyate abrabapuse taditambaraya gunjavatam saparipicchala sanmukhaya Vanyasraje Kavalavetra Vishana Venum Lakshma Shriye Mridupade Pashupangajaya. So Lord Brahma is saying, Nomidyate Abravapuse Taditambaraya. I offer my obeisance to this Gopa form of Krishna, who is Abravapuse, whose complexion is like that of a cloud. Taditambaraya, and his bright yellow clothes are like steady lightning. Lightning which is steady. Usually lightning is unsteady. Gunjavatams, he is wearing the earrings made of gunja berries and wearing a paripichala sanmukhaya. And Krishna's form is like that of a cloud, and his peacock feather is described as rainbow. Rainbow. So there is clothes are like a lightning, peacock feather is like a rainbow. And there is another rainbow, which is Krishna wears Vanamala, which is made up of 5 kind of flowers, 5 different colored flowers. That is the Vanamala Krishna, Vanya Srijay. And that is second rainbow. So there are 2 rainbows which are described on the blackish form of Krishna. So Vanya Srijay Kavalavetra Vishana Venum. Here the in hand is carrying some rice and yogurt. There is a cowherd boy stick. Vitra is a Vishan, buffalo horn, and also carrying his eternally celebrated flute. In this way, Krishna is characterized as Pashupangajaya. Pashupangajaya is the son of Nanda Maharaj, who is a Pashupa, who is a Gopa. So Lord Brahma describes this beautiful form of Krishna. And Shukdev Goswami gives the description of Gopastami in the 15th chapter. That is the beginning of the Paugand Leela. So Shukdev Goswami describes Tatascha Paugandavayashito vraje babu vutasto pashupala sammato gascharayanto sakhibhi samampadar vrindavanam punyamativa chakratuhu Tatascha Paugandavayashito vraje. So now this is the beginning of Pauganda Leela. So now Krishna began. He was earlier referred to as Vatsapa till now. Lord Brahma stole all the calves. That time Krishna was not, and that is chapter 13 and 14. That time Krishna was not herding the cows. He stole all the calves. He was a Vatsapa. But now Krishna became Gopa. And this is Babhuvutasto Pashupala Sammato. This is with the Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda agreed to give him the charge of the cows. But actually that was a very difficult permission to get. Because Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda always thought in their love that no, Krishna is not yet grown up to go and herd the cows. But now Krishna wanted to take charge of the cows. Some of the Acharya describes some of his cowherd boyfriends were teasing him that your father and mother do not have confidence in you. Though you have grown beyond Pagan, they are not giving you charge of the cows. So they were challenging his abilities, the teasing, and so on and so forth. So therefore, Krishna actually had to weep and cry. And when the child begins weeping and crying, that's the ultimate emotional pressure on the parents. The parents would do anything when the child starts crying. So Krishna, there is a whole pastime how Krishna said, I will not eat. And he would just, went and slept this way downward and crying that you're not giving me charge of the cows. I want to go and herd the cows. So finally, Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, seeing his insistence, Pashupala Sammatana, they agreed to give him the charge. And they said, since you will go deep in the forest, there will be many stones, sharp stones, and the thorns. Therefore, we must give you nice shoes. And Krishna, he said, you have to then give shoes to all my cows also. Right? So actually, Krishna gives a very important leadership lesson over here. Right? He is the leader of all the Gopas as such. Right? Krishna is going to set example. He's going to lead. He didn't want to take any special privilege. He said you have to give, and there were lakhs and lakhs of cows. And how to make shoes for all the cows, and they had 4 feet. Therefore, Krishna also refused. To have the shoes. Therefore, Gascharayanto Sakibhi Samampadar. Krishna began herding the cows. Vrindavanam Punyam Ativa Chakratu. And thus, because Krishna herded the cows bare feet, the entire land of Vrindavan has been utmost sanctified by the touch of his lotus feet. The touch of his lotus feet. Vrindavanam punyam ativ. So to extreme degree, the land of Vrindavan has been purified and made punya by the touch of his lotus feet. Once I was talking to some devotees and I was asking them that when you go to Vrindavan, imagine you're going to go to Vrindavan Yatra. We all went for Vrindavan, Govardhan Yatra. So I was talking to devotees, when you go for Vrindavan, now suppose, just imagine, right, that you are going to go to Vrindavan in next few days, going to make a Vrindavan Yatra. What is one thing which you look up to doing in Vrindavan? What is one thing which excites you about Vrindavan? I asked several devotees. And some of them said that I want to go and take darshan of, the Radha Shyam Sundar, Krishna Balram, the deities. Others said, I want to do daily parikrama. Those were quite devotional response. Some also said that I want to try the Banke Bihari Lassi, right? And so on and so forth. There's some special lassi and son papdi and so on and so forth. So the many things, different devotees. Some said I will hear from devotees the offering of the lamp in Krishna Balram Mandir, attending Damodar Ashtakam. I look forward to do that. Hearing and so on and so forth. So many devotees describe differently. I said, I was asking more, something else. I said, I'm looking for one point which is not coming out. And that is what? That I look forward to roll or offer my dandavas on the land of Vrindavan. Because this dust is so pure. Krishna has walked bare feet over here. So when Akrura was going, what excited him that I will take this Raj on my head. This Raj will purify me. Vraj Raj. That's also actually one of the great or one of the greatest benediction is described as the Vraj Raj, which is described by Shukadeva Goswami as Vrindavanam Punyamati Vichakratu, because Krishna walked bare feet herding the cows. Therefore, this land has been extremely, extremely purified. So, yeah. In fact, it is said, what is Braj-bhumi? Braj-bhumi. 84 kosh Braj parikrama, as we say. 84 kosh means 168 miles. 168 miles. Now, any 84 kosh parikrama currently do not go beyond 24 kosh, 48 miles diameter. 84 kosh is actually very big. 84 kosh is all the way from Gurugram starts up to with Agra and Rajasthan. Many parts of Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, much bigger tract of land is 84 kosh, 168. So what is this? How are the limits of 84 kosh Braj defined? As we say, 84 kosh Braj. Though as I said, now it's much limited now. Otherwise the 84 kosh Braj is quite vast. And no parikrama goes to all the 84 kosh now, practically. So how is this 84 kosh Braj defined? Vrajanti gava yatra iti vraja. Wherever Krishna has walked bare feet while herding the cows, that is Braj Bhumi. The word Braj has come from Brajanti. And Brajanti means walking, and while walking bare feet while herding the cows. Brajanti gava yatra iti vraja. In this way, Vrindavanam punyamati vachakratu. Krishna, by performing this pastime as a cowherd boy of herding the cows, he sanctified this entire land of Braj Bhumi by the touch of his lotus feet. It said that when Prithu Maharaj performed the sacrifice, Lord Vishnu came. And he was in the air. He came as a leader of all the devatas. All the devatas came with him. And all the devatas do not touch their feet on the ground. And Lord Vishnu also was not touching his feet. But out of his love for Prithu, Lord Vishnu touched his feet on the ground. And it's mentioned because Lord Vishnu is not accustomed to stand on the ground. There was some imbalance. And he took support of Garuda. There's a photo of Lord Vishnu. He who held Garuda to take support to balance himself because he's not accustomed to touch the ground. Just imagine. But Krishna, who is the source of all the Vishnus, he traversed this land on his lotus feet, bare feet, and thus purified this entire tract of land. So when we go to Vrindavan, one thing we should look forth is to be purified by the touch of the raj of Krishna's lotus feet. We still can get that touch. So all the acharyas, this land has been purified, not just by the touch of Krishna's lotus feet. All the so many great devotees, Krishna associates, the acharyas, they all have roamed on this land bare feet. And thus the land has been supremely purified. Specifically it is described. There is another beautiful meditation. So we are discussing today mainly about the land of Vrindavan being purified by the touch of Krishna's lotus feet. So Krishna's lotus feet has 19 symbols. His left foot has 11 and the right foot has 8 symbols. Out of which the 6 are specifically should be meditated upon by the sadhakas. That's very important. So I'll briefly touch upon that, because when Krishna would walk barefoot on Vrindavan, there would be clear visible marks of his lotus feet, these 19 marks. The 6 are very prominent. Vajra, Chakra and Ankush. These 3, if we meditate upon these 3, that destroy the anartha of the heart. So the anartha nivritti is caused by meditation on these 3 marks of the Krishna lotus feet. And artha pravritti, positive enhancement of one's bhakti and devotion, is caused by when we meditate on the 3 other symbols at Krishna's lotus feet. That is lotus, barley and flag. So there are 6 prominent out of the 19. The first one, the first 3 brings anartha nivritti, which is Vajra, Chakra and Ankush. So the Vajra describes the mountains of sins. So Krishna is Bhagavan, but living entity is Aghavan. Aghavan means full of sins. We have committed sins in countless lives. Living entities, mountains and mountains of sins are destroyed when we meditate on the Vajra at the Krishna's lotus feet. That is the effect. And Chakra, even if the sins are destroyed, our material attachment remain. Material asakti remain. Chakra destroys the material attachment. So when we meditate on the chakra, it cuts our material attachments after destroying the sin. The second phase. So even if the material attachments are destroyed, the mind is still very difficult to control. Right? The mind is still very difficult to control. Arjuna also expresses. Therefore, meditation on the Ankush, which is the goad, elephant goad, at Krishna's lotus feet helps to control the mind. So first the sins are destroyed by Vajra, meditation on Vajra, then the material attachments are cut by Chakra, and then the mind can be fixed at Krishna's lotus feet, can be controlled by meditation on the goad. So these 3, mind control, these 3 helps to overcome the anarthas. And the other 3, the lotus, when we meditate on the lotus, at the lotus feet of Krishna, that is the beginning of the good fortune. The lotus is a symbol of beauty and good fortune. So meditation on the lotus makes our life beautiful and brings good fortune into our spiritual life. And then barley, the 5th symbol, barley. Barley is a sign of prosperity, the barley corn. The sign of prosperity. And thus, the lotus is the beginning of the good fortune. Our spiritual life becomes prosperous by the mercy of the Lord when we meditate on the barley. Our bhakti is enriched by meditation on this yava. And the other is pataka. The 6th one is the flag. And a devotee becomes ultimately victorious and attains the kingdom of the Lord by meditation on the flag at the lotus feet of the Lord. So the flag is a symptom of victory. Jai Pataka. The flag is a symptom of victory, and therefore a devotee will become victorious by meditation on this. So therefore Krishna's cowherd Gopastami pastime, where he purified the land with the symbols, the 19 symbols, of which the 6 are very prominent, and the devotee should meditate upon specifically the 6 of these. So and Prabhupada described in the purport very beautifully, this Gopastami. Prabhupada writes, Lord Krishna's spiritual body had apparently grown slightly in age and strength. The senior men of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, decided to promote Krishna from the task of herding calves to the status of regular cowherd boy. Right? As I said in the beginning, that was Krishna's promotion day. He would now take care of the full-grown cows, bull and oxen. Out of great affection, Nanda Maharaj had previously considered Krishna too small and immature to take care of full-grown cows and bulls. It is stated in the Kartik Mahatmya of the Padma Puran, Shuklashtami Kartike tu smritva Gopastami budhay taddinad vasudeva bhut gopaha purvam tu vatsapa. The 8th lunar day of the bright fortnight, this is Shuklashtami today, of the Kartik, is known by the authorities as Gopastami. From that day, Lord Vasudev served as a cowherd, whereas previously he tended the calves. The word Paday indicates that Lord Krishna blessed the earth by walking on her surface with his lotus feet. The Lord wore no shoes or other footgear, but walked barefoot in the forest, giving great anxiety to the girls of Vrindavan who feared that his soft lotus feet would be injured. Chalasiyad vrajad Charayan Pashun Nalena Sundaram Nathate Padam Shilatinam Kurai Sidati Tina Kalilatamana Kanta Gachati. So this is expressed that how though Krishna is purifying the land of Vrindavan by walking bare feet, but this is giving great anxiety to the gopis of Vrindavan who were saying that how Krishna's soft lotus feet would be pierced by the stones and the thorns. But actually the cows had already solved that problem. Just when they heard that Krishna is going to go, and this is the concern of Mother Yashoda and the other gopis, they went out and they pulverized with their hoofs all the sharp stones and the thorns, right? And the Braj of Vrindavan became as soft as talcum powder. So in this way, even Damodar Prabhu, sometimes certain parts of Braja still have very soft, finely powdered dust. And he says, so welcome, now you will be sprinkled with Johnson & Johnson baby powder, talcum powder. He welcomes the devotees like that. So in this way, Krishna began this beautiful pastime of herding the cows on this very important day. Though we chant Krishna's name on the bead, Krishna also chants on the beads. He also has 108 beads, and he chants the name of his cows on his beads. So Krishna has 108 groups of cows. At Terkadam, he calls all of them by playing his flute in different note and by calling upon them, and he pulls on one bead, one group of cow comes. So all his cows are divided into 108 groups, and Krishna chants their names on his beads. So in this way, Krishna brought great pleasure to all the cows of Vrindavan by actually herding them and performing this beautiful pastime. So on this auspicious day of Gopastami, we actually have visited Vrindavan Dham through the sound vibration. Vrindavan Dham is accessible by hearing about it through the sound vibration. And on this auspicious day of Gopastami, we can pray that we have known the glory of Krishna and the Vrindavan Dham by hearing it from Srila Prabhupada, from Srimad Bhagavatam. May we always absorb our mind in hearing and chanting about Vrindavan Dham and the beautiful pastimes of Krishna and Balaram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah, thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Radha Gopinath ki Jai. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री गोपाष्टमी महामहोत्सव की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे।